here. We're coming up on 56 degrees, clear skies, headed for a high of 79. And this morning on the Breakfast Club, I am joined by Earl, Mike, and Dibika. Greetings and welcome. Good to have you guys here.
Hi, how are you?
All
Good
right.
morning.
Who are you with, actually? I'm not exactly, is it the R.I.P.?
Yes, it's R.I.P. Hunters, which has a little play on words there. It's research and investigation of the paranormal, or rest in peace. Take it each way.
That's wonderful. You've been doing some research in St. Joseph?
Yes, we're from Orlando, Florida, and we have a large group down there of almost 500 members on a meetup group, and then we have a team of 12 investigators. And we just started a team up here in Kansas and Missouri, and that took off unbelievably. It's only been around a couple of months, and we have about 75 members already. So we had our first investigation up here at the Glore Metal Hospital and Museum on Saturday night, and it went extremely well. We sold out and had unbelievable activity up there, so we're very pleased with that.
Well, tell me about some of the activity you witnessed or gathered.
Well, we use a lot of different types of equipment, and we're unlike a lot of teams. A lot of teams are looking for just purely scientific evidence, and we use a lot of scientific equipment and applications, but we also use mediums to fill in the gaps. We like to use all the tools on a tool bag. So, and that's what Dibika does. She is a medium. She's awesome, spot on everything, and we work very close together, and it turns out excellent. We've got a lot of our equipment was going off. We have a lot of there's a lot of evidence that we haven't gone over yet either, because we have to go over hundreds of hours of video and digital recorders and that type of thing, but just the face value of the evidence that we got the other night was just unbelievable.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing. Did you do any electronic voice phenomena, EVPs?
Yes, and we've already got some, and some of our members have already contacted us that aren't on our team, but they're on our meetup group, and they've got a lot. And yesterday, to be honest with you, we were just recuperating. We were up all night investigating, so it takes us a few days to go over all the hundreds of hours of evidence. But like I said, the face value of the stuff that we experienced was just unbelievable. And it's just a crazy place. I mean, you're talking about 300 years of equipment used for psychiatric evaluation and treatment, and some of that stuff they used was very experimental, and you can imagine the things they did to people back then, and the energy, and the energy that's attracted to some of that stuff that's still in that museum. So, and it was also the morgue. It's right there on the prison property, so you've got the morgue, and then the treatment for all the people that were at that psychiatric hospital over all those years. So,
oh my goodness. What did you experience in Glore Hospital? Did you the data gathered? Have you actually had a chance to go over any of that yet? Find any?
well, we did get some EVPs, and that's electronic voice phenomena, and we have a few different types of equipment, but we use digital recorders that hear all frequencies. It's kind of like dogs can hear things that we can't hear.
Right.
But this is to the 10th degree. So we ask questions, we leave a 5 to 10 second pause, then we ask another question and do the same, and then we go back and listen to those tapes, and we're getting specific answers to those questions that we couldn't hear while we were in that location or in that room asking those questions. So it's unbelievable.
That's incredible. Can anybody do electronic voice phenomena? Just all you need is a digital recorder?
Yes, and obviously the better digital recorder is better, but you can do it with any digital recorder. And if you feel like you have something going on in your house, your property, your business, whatever, and you'd like to just check it out yourself, you just turn it on and ask questions, leave that pause, and ask another question, then go back and listen to it. And if you have something there, most times they're going to answer you.
Wow, that is incredible. What's the most interesting electronic voice phenomena you've ever captured? They laugh. Haha.
That is funny.
There is so much.
That is really so much.
Back at my house in Orlando, I've got thousands of hours of evidence that would just blow your mind.
Off the
Just,
responses. to
you know,
your
just,
questions.
is there somebody here and it says, yes, I'm here. I mean, you can't get any more explicit than that,
Oh
so.
my.
Or,
They tell you names, direct names, you know, in where you're like, whoa, you know, or they say while you're leaving, we try to keep, or the investigators actually, leave the voice recorders in the room
Yes.
while we're leaving, so we can still pick something up if we're not in the room, and then somebody says, oh, they're leaving.
Oh my.
So it's very, very interesting that they, you know, they talk to each other, you know, on those low frequencies even.
Wow, that's incredible. Mike, what's your position with R.I.P Hunters? Are you like the director?
I'm the director and lead investigator, and also I do a lot of recruiting. And like I was saying, we have a new television show we just filmed, a national show. We filmed the pilot. We're getting ready to start filming the first few episodes, and we're in the process of starting different teams across the country. This was our second team, and every 2 to 3 months we're going to open another meetup team around the country. So when we're traveling around the country doing our show, that we can choose and pick the best investigators from those areas to maybe join us on different episodes. So we're excited about that.
That's amazing. How would somebody sign up to become an R.I.P investigator?
All you have to do is go on the meetup page, and it's meetup, MEETUP /research and investigation of the paranormal. And put that in your browser, and it'll take you right to our page. You can also go to riphunters.com.
riphunters.com.
That is our team website, and there are links to all our different teams and evidence, and you can go on there and see video evidence, you can see testimonials, you can see all our investigations that we've done. It's quite extensive. We've been doing this for years.
That's amazing. Where do you go from here? Where's the next stop?
Well, while we were in town this weekend, we did a big interview at Fox 4 in Kansas City on Friday morning, and we doubled our membership attendance within 12 hours.
Wow.
And while we were in town, we wanted to be able to present to our new members at their first investigation, announce the next investigation. So we're going to be investigating the Savoy Hotel downtown Kansas City, which has never been investigated. And if you do any research on the Savoy Hotel, it's been around for over almost 150 years,
Yeah.
and has a huge amount of haunted history there. And we're the first team that's ever been allowed to go in there and investigate. So on November 23rd, we're going to have an investigation. If you join up, you're more than allowed to come out and investigate with us and watch and learn how we use the equipment, how we do the Q&A, the whole process, and it's very interesting.
And we do invite also all the sensitives. If you have, you know, everybody's pretty much sensitive, but somebody that's really interested in it, we train them to and help them along. That's what we're there for.
To
So
develop
everything
that
is
sense.
covered. Absolutely. We try to train everybody.
That's amazing. What are some of the tools of the trade you use during your investigations?
Well, Vic is one of our, I don't like to call her a tool, but she's
Well,
I
a
am
big
a
part
tool.
of it.
Actually, I am.
And well, we're all tools
We're
as
all tools.
investigators.
Yes.
We are.
But we use DVR systems with night vision cameras. We have most of our systems have 8 cameras. We also and we set those up an hour before everybody gets there. We just turn them on, let them run
Yeah.
through. And they go all night, and we take them down. We review that evidence. You'd be amazed what we find. We use digital recorders. We use what they call K2s or EMF
Electromagnetic.
electronic magnetic fields. And most of the equipment we use is not made for ghost hunting. It's used for different industries, and that based on electronics and that type of thing. So we're picking up energies. We use something as simple as a mag flashlight, where you turn a light on, you screw the end of it,
Yeah.
and then you back it off and turn it off. And they will actually, you have to word the questions correctly, but you can ask, if there's a spirit here, please turn on the light will come on.
Oh
You can
my.
say, please turn the light off again, I got another question for you. It's just the way you word the questions, and we get a huge amount of activity just by doing that.
The Glore was very active, to say that. Well,
Really?
we had actually a patient count where they just kept on flashing. I asked them to come, everybody that's there right now, to come through. So, and they did it. It was just keep on flashing.
Oh my!
They
It,
were
it
on
flashed
through.
for 40 minutes.
Minutes.
Flash 40 minutes.
Yes.
all the time.
Exact timing. It wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't like off
It was
and
awesome.
back and forth. It was like a heartbeat for 40 minutes. I was so. I've seen a lot of evidence in my life, but I was so excited by that. I tried to debunk it. After 20 minutes, I turned it off, turned it back on. It continued. I actually grabbed it and went down to one of our teams just to show them what was going on and let them watch it for a number of minutes.
Wow.
And
Which
then-
was not one of our flashlights. It was actually one of the participants that came to the meetup.
Yes.
Just a visit, and it was their flashlight. So which makes it even more that we're not having any tricks in our pockets or anything, putting this right. It was somebody else's flashlight. So.
That's incredible. I've seen some paranormal programs on television to where they'll set up and the camera will jiggle on night vision and they'll run out of the house. Well, I think I might have heard or seen something. It must have been a ghost. But some of the later programs, they try to actually debunk what they have found. You know, they employ critical thinking. Why couldn't this be something else? Why couldn't this be a cat? Why couldn't this be a television in a different room? And I'm sure critical thinking is a big part of this.
Absolutely.
You know, you just can't jump to, oh, well, it's a ghost.
Right.
No.
The very first thing that we say is, well, maybe it's just something else.
Yes.
We'll get a lot of calls, or Mike gets a lot of calls from people actually, that are living in the house, and they just say, we have those weird things going on, and this and this. And before we even take anything to the next level, he's like, well, maybe it's this or that. Maybe it's just something in your duct system, or you have, all faulty cables from electrical parts.
Right.
That's the very first thing. We don't say, oh, you got a ghost right away, we're on it. That's not how it works. He has an extensive, criteria that people have to go through, before he actually takes the case.
We actually try to debunk everything,
Yes.
and people don't believe this, but as investigators, we're skeptics.
Mhm.
It's not that we don't believe in spirits. We believe in spirits because we've seen the evidence over and over again. But there are situations, because your mind will run away with you easily, or people in their homes when something happens. So we try to recreate in a man way or a natural way what that could have been, and then we eliminate those things. Once we've eliminated everything it could have been, then we can say it's a percentage chance that it could be paranormal.
Okay, very cool. I had an experience one time when I was living in Iowa. I had a shirt laid out on the bed, and I went into another room, came back, the shirt was gone. It's like, well, what could I have done with this? And went into another room, did something else, came back, and the shirt was back on the bed. And little hairs on the back of your neck, just, and I ended up moving from that not long afterwards. So, yeah, just weird things that would give like ordinary people the creeps. I wish I had some kind of tool that I maybe could have done an EVP or something of that nature. What would you suggest, say, if somebody else had a similar experience and they wanted to try to get to the bottom of it?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't freak out, because 99% of the time it's just grandma or grandpa looking in on you, or a friend, or possibly somebody that was related to that house somehow, or on that property before the house was built. They're not there to hurt you. I hate the word haunted, because that takes me back to when I'm 10 years old watching scary movies, and those movies make you think that people are going to get hurt.
Yeah.
People don't usually get hurt. I mean, let's put it that way. But there's, you can call anyone an investigation team. They're all over the country now. In the last 10 years, this field has grown unbelievably, and you can call somebody in, and when we're called in, we don't just, when I get a call, I don't call my team, let's go, off we go, and grab our equipment, we're going to do an investigation. We do an interview, and we have an extensive questionnaire, and I'll bring one or two of my best people and go to the people's house and sit down and talk to them. And a lot of times we can solve the situation while we're there, especially when Davika comes with us. we, with our equipment and the questionnaire of what's been happening and with her input, we can find out what's going on right there and sometimes solve the problem and not have to do an investigation. I mean, we're not always trying to get rid of these spirits. Once they find out who it is, like I said, it could be their favorite uncle. And it's as easy as saying, okay, and you just talk to the spirit. Listen, Uncle Joe, you can stay, but you need to stop scaring the dog, quit scaring the kids, quit turning the TV off of my favorite football game. You can stay, we love you, but if it happens again, we're going to get the R.I.P hunters back here, and they're going to get rid of you.
Well,
And we have
for them it's pretty much about recognition. If they're not gonna get recognized, so the level of activity is gonna be picked up. So, but if we're walking in and we actually identify who it is,
Yes.
then it comes down. And when you put the rules down, you cannot do this and this and this.
And you'd be surprised too, because let's face it, this isn't something you tell all your friends or your neighbors, hey, I had a ghost in my house last night, what do you think about that? So when we go out to these interviews and after we're done talking with them, they feel 50% better already because they're talking to people that experience this all the time, and they can drop their guard, say what they're experiencing. And we've had people, give us hugs and kisses as we're leaving, even though we're coming back to do an investigation for them.
Yeah.
They feel 1,000% better because they're able to talk about it. They've been harboring these feelings and this evidence they've had, and wondering if they're going crazy, what's going on in my house. So.
And I'm sure it's a big comfort that they can bring it up and discuss it with you without fear of being ridiculed, being called crazy,
This is what it's about. We don't, even with this show, we don't wanna put fear in people.
Yeah.
We kinda want them to face it for what it is. Sometimes it's to debunk something, and sometimes, that's what it is. But we want people, to have a question mark in mind. There is a possibility, even for the biggest non-believer, there is a possibility of something that cannot be explained. So, but we don't want to put nobody in fear. We just see it as fact. This is what it is, this is what we got, and we get direct responses.
Well, this is fantastic. Speaking with Divika, Mike, and Earl's over there with a video camera. So, with R.I.P Hunters, riphunters.com, director, lead investigator. My gosh, I've got so many questions. I could talk to you guys all day long. What's the first thing you do whenever you set up to do an investigation? Bring in the cameras, switch
Right.
on?
We do what we call base readings, and while some of the team is setting up the equipment, we'll send a couple people out with our handheld equipment and get base readings on energy, any voice phenomena, find the hot spots in the house. We've already talked to the owners, so they're telling us where they've experienced things, but with this equipment, we can get the hot spots on the location, so we know where we're going to be doing our EVP sessions, and that helps us a lot to get started, so we know those hot spots. So there may be a certain area of the house. I mean, let's face it, people die, and there's people die in their home, so obviously if something dramatic has happened in a certain part of the house, we want to key in on that location especially. But like I said, there's 99% of the time it's just somebody you knew or somebody that's a lot of spirits don't even know that they've passed away. They could have died in their sleep, in a coma. There's a lot of different variables there, and it's just good spirits just trying to get your attention. But then there's that 1%. It doesn't happen very often, but we've run into over the years a number of really negative spirits or even demonic, and it can get quite heavy.
My gosh, what would you do in a case of that nature? Is there, I don't want to use the term exorcism, but I can't think of anything else.
Please don't, and also the demonic.
Yes.
Please don't, let's not do that. I just feel it, I just see it as negative.
Okay.
Negative energy.
Mhm.
So if somebody is coming towards you, even in this life here or physical life, that's what they are. They have negative intentions towards you. So that's when we have our procedures, that we go move forward on to prevent that and blocking them. Blocking them or passing and moving them on where they need to be, on being picked up by whoever they need to be picked up.
That's amazing. You were going to be at the Savoy Hotel in Kansas City on the 23rd. And if somebody wanted to hook up with you and join along, they would go to riphunters.com and follow the links.
Right, exactly, and that will take them to a couple different links. They'll see our Orlando meetup group, which is almost 500 people, and it will also take them to the new Kansas, Missouri meetup group, which I think we're at almost 75 right now. It has all the specifics on all the meetups coming up, and
It's free to join.
It's free to join, and you can either from the other night, we already have about out of the 35 people that attended that meetup, we sold out. I believe we're almost at 20 of them want to become investigators. So we've taken applications, we're reviewing those, and then we call them and start training. They become an investigator in training. It depends on their attitude and how fast they learn. There is no set time. And when they're ready, then we put them on the line. They start investigating with us, so they can take care of these situations for people that are having strange things going on in their house.
That's great. Mike, what do you look for? What qualities do you look for in a paranormal investigator?
Well, number one, they have to have a passion for it. I don't want somebody just to go through the numbers and not have a passion for it. They have to have that. You have to understand that we don't just accept everybody that has passion too. We are looking for certain areas, certain specialties for our team, and if we already have one or two people that have that specialty, but we're looking for electronic engineers, we're looking for communication experts, we're looking for scientists, we're looking for sensitives and mediums. There's a lot of different variables there, tech people, that type of thing, and when they show us that they have the passion and they have the ability to lend something to our team, then we'll bring them on and we'll train them for what they need to know.
That's amazing. I use like digital editing equipment all the time, so
Right.
it's I'm well versed in that area, that aspect of it.
We like people that are fact driven. We don't want you to make something up and there's not. And we rather dismiss, or the investigators rather dismiss something that is not 100%
Mhm.
than saying, oh yeah, that's what it is. So it's very much about being fact driven. That's what it is.
That is great. Is there anything we've yet to cover?
A lot.
A lot, I'm sure, yeah.
There is a lot to it, and we do television, we do radio, we've had PBS specials made on us. We've done a lot of marketing, and it's not for fame or money or anything like that. It's for us to get our name out there. We want to get our name out there. So when people are having problems, that they know who to call, and to be able to call somebody good. Let's face it, there's a lot of teams out there that 3 or 4 or 5 people that are usually young kids, or not always, but they're out there every weekend in a cemetery or something, and they're experiencing some things, but they don't have all equipment. They're not specialists, and we want to make sure if someone's having problems that they have the best out there, and I feel we are one of the best in the country, so we put our name out there so we can help people. We don't charge for what we do, because that's a red flag right there. If someone's going to charge you money before, if they don't find any evidence, what are they going to do? They're going to manufacture something because you've paid them.
That's right.
Yeah.
We do take donations to help with our equipment, and we don't push that. But I mean, there's been people that have given us substantial donations because we've solved the problem in their house. We've told them who's there. So it works very well.
Okay, very good, thank you. Wow, there's somebody on line 1 with a question.
All right,
Let's-
shoot.
Sure, let's see.
Well,
Hey, good morning, how you doing?
yeah, this is Joe Hamilton from Gilman City.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, I just wondered, there's a place right across the Iowa line, the Lindsay Borden house. Have they ever been up there?
No, we haven't. In fact, like I said, we just started this team and we had our first investigation. And when I say investigation, it's historical locations for the meetup people. We don't.
In Kansas City.
Right, in
That's
Kansas
what he
City.
meant, that we started here in Kansas City.
Right, we just started our team in Kansas City just a couple of months ago. We haven't got our first private investigation. In Lizzie Borden house, a lot of people have investigated it. It's hard to get in, and you know what? We try to go to places that other teams haven't gone, and we don't want to be compared to other teams that you see on TV that have been to those places. There's
I
been a
see.
lot of teams that have been there. I'm sure there's a huge amount of activity, but you know what? There's thousands of places that have as much or more activity, and we want to be the first ones in there. And
Alright.
and a lot in most of our places we have exclusives where we go back, and we're the only teams allowed to go back in there, and that's the way I like it, because I don't want to be compared, and I don't want other teams to be compared to us either. So
Right, I understand that.
don't get me wrong there. I've watched a lot of shows and documentaries about that location, and it would be very cool to go in there. But we are so busy and backed up with so many locations. It's best for us to go in places that haven't been investigated. So
I agree, there's a lot of
and we're
locations
called
that
in
people
because of
haven't
that.
been to, like, well, this is probably they investigate like Hans Mill and Hamilton
Right.
and a lot of different places. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there.
Yeah, we're in the process right now researching the area to get the best locations, and we're trying to find places that people have talked about but no one's been allowed to go in. Let's face it, even though this field has grown a lot in the last 10 years, there's still a lot of places that won't let you go in there, especially if they're in history and the government's handling them right now. Like, you know, we had called a couple of the Jesse James locations and stuff, because I'm a history buff.
Yeah.
And they're run by the government now, and they're I'm not to say that all government is going to stop us from coming in the door. We in Florida, it's a lot more acceptable for some reason, and we've been in some government establishments. But up here, as soon as you say you're with a paranormal group, because they get bombarded with a lot of the small teams, and you know, I try to work my magic and get my foot in the door and explain to them we're not a bunch of kids in a cemetery. We're all specialists and experts in our field. And a lot of times, if I tell them some of the places we've been to, I mean, we've investigated the Titanic. We were called in for that, being one of the top groups in the country.
Wow.
There's certain things that we can tell them that we're a credible group and we're not a bunch of kids. So we're able to get in there. But I don't want to go in again. I don't want to go into a place that's been bombarded and run every television show out there.
All right.
Well, I appreciate talking with you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the call, Joe. Appreciate it, sir.
Oh, okay, thank you now.
All right. You investigated the Titanic. How did you go about that? Obviously, you didn't get in a mini sub and go 5 miles
Well,
down.
we didn't. I got to clarify that. In Orlando, they have the Titanic exhibit, and it's there permanently. And they have all the artifacts that have been brought up. Even a piece of the hull is there. It's very interesting. And they had called us in because they're having some strange things going on there. And we got some great EVPs out of there. We had a huge chain that was used on the anchor of the Titanic. They had it hanging off a wall, and the thing started rocking. And we had it on film, and it's so heavy, it's not like the air conditioner vent's going to blow on. We turn the air conditioning off, we turn the lights off, we turn anything off that's going to cause any type of background noise or vibration that might affect our equipment. And this chain was rocking back and forth, and they had said that had never happened before. I mean, I can go on for hours talking about that investigation, all the evidence, but there was some very dramatic stuff there, and some people were touched. One girl had her hair pulled. One of our investigators had a flashlight pulled out of their pocket and thrown across the room. So a lot of evidence came from that. So and they wind up, after we did that, they wind up started offering ghost tours there every weekend. So they wanted us to run that, but we're too busy to continually go back to the same place, and we have to keep it interesting for us and our investigators too. We don't want to go back to the same place every weekend.
Yeah, we don't want to do ghost tours all the time.
No, we're not going to do ghost tours.
Sure. Well, Mike Dibica, it's been a blast having you on the Breakfast Club. Next time you're passing through, by all means, look me up, and we'll by golly get you on here again, because this has just been fantastic. You know, I wish this would go on for another couple of hours, because I could talk to you guys all day long.
Well, thank you so much,
you for having
and
us.
the listeners, please, if you're interested, sign up. You'll get a lot out of it, and you'll learn a lot.
RIP.com, or put in meetup.com/RIP Kansas, Missouri.
Okay, and all the links, we can find those on riphunters.com.
Correct.
So, all right. Well, again, thanks so much for coming in. It has been a blast. Still to come, we have today's trading post on the way, your regional radio weather forecast, and local and regional news straight ahead. Clear skies, 58 degrees. The time is 8:34.